first time I saw Ban This, I actually rented it from a little video store like the next city over from where I lived, grabbed it, put it in, mind was blown. I mean, there was so much good stuff in that movie, but the one thing that totally stood out to me was, of course, like Guy, Rudy, Gabriel, Paulo, that whole section.
It was super interesting that they had 4 random dudes with superstars lumped into the same video. They were just somebody you totally could kind of relate to. But they were just better, obviously.
Those 4 guys in Ban This was a breakthrough moment. You know, the fact that they're like inner city kids from LA and they're breaking out and they're making names for themselves skateboarding, and that was the first of that kind.
They had style, they had a presence on their board. So at that point, for me, watching that stuff, I'm like, how do I meet those guys? How do I film those guys?
I remember comparing them to the H Street guys a little bit, where like Powell was more about like a feel and a mood for skateboarding, where like H Street was just like trick, 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 trick. And I feel like these guys kind of had like a little balance.
What translated most to me was that they're all having fun. It seemed like even if they weren't being filmed that day, that's what they would have been doing that day.
I was completely floored by it. Just the music and everything, and just how like rapid fire the editing was. It was so influential. I had no clue what was going on.
To me, it was funny because in a way, it was almost an educational video. It was like handrail, stair, ledge. It told you what the obstacle was, what you were supposed to interact with.
You know, for me, there was a big connection there. I mean, I remember they were bomb dropping rails, so we started bomb dropping rails. We were just heavily influenced by what we saw in that video.
I mean, I even recorded the soundtrack. Like still, every time I see Guy Still, it's like in my head, no matter what, Mariano, Mariano, every single time.
I thought it was rad just showing them skating down the street all together, just a little crew of dudes that were truly friends. And that's the way I wish videos could be a lot more of these days, you know?
What's so cool about these dudes is they got to all ride for the same team and stay together. My friends that I grew up skating with, we couldn't just go to one team as a package thing. The fact that these guys were able to do that makes it really special. Because I don't know if it's happened since.
I looked at them the same way I saw the original Bones Brigade, which is this group of unknown kids that Stacy basically found and was gonna get behind, work with, and I trusted Stacy and I saw these guys and I'm like, yep, these are the kids. Stacy knows what he's doing.
Oh, wow. Oh, jeez. Wow. Oh, my God.
You remember?
Oh, my God. This is unbelievable. Look at this. I mean, this is... God. This is my handwriting right here. Hawk Park Tour. Jesus, what is it? Let's see if we can find their stuff. Let me see. I had this woman working for me when I had my production studio in Silver Lake. She was my assistant. She went to a skateboard shop in Hollywood one day and discovered this guy that owned this shop named Rene. And he said, I've got these 4 really good skateboarders on my team.
Let me go have it, let me go have it.
The shop that we skated for back then was Renee's. It was on Melrose. It was a pretty cool store. You know, they sold records and skateboards. I already knew Gabriel, but that's how I met Rudy and Guy, was through being sponsored through that.
We used to go to like, to these certain little skateboard competitions, and each shop had their little, their team.
Okay, up next is Gabriel Rodriguez from Rene.
The #1 team was Renee's, and they were just incredible. And Guy was amazing right from the get-go. Like, he was probably one of the best people on the team, and he was 11 at the time. But the real standout was Gabriel. He was so smooth and just didn't fall. So I really got into filming him at the contest, and I was looking forward to every time he was going to be there. And then I got a call from Renee, and he said, hey, do you know Gabriel? I'm like, yeah, I know Gabriel. And he's like, he wants to make a video. Would you be willing to film him for a few days?
You know, we started filming, you know, getting clips here and there. And he was really good with the editing. He already knew what to do with all that, you know. All I had to do was skate.
So we filmed for about a month, and we hit every spot that Gabriel wanted to film, and then I was able to take him to every spot that I had always like imagined a trick by. I'm like, oh, there's this rail near my house, and it's like 9 steps, and then there's like another 4 rail down there, and you can hit both of them. So like I got to live out my little skating fantasy through Gabriel and take him to all these spots. And then we pretty much had enough for his Sponsor Me reel.
Well, for me in particular, I would always go to Mexico with my family for like the entire summer, for almost 3 months. I left one summer and I came back and Gabriel had this insane video part. I mean, it blew my mind.
In his Sponsor Me tape, he's doing like half cab flips, like a lot of double flip stuff. And you know, this is stuff that wasn't even in the Powell video.
I remember thinking like, man, I gotta like catch up. Dude, this guy's like way beyond right now, you know? Like, I wanted to get as good as he was.
So I get another call from Renee that Rudy really wants a tape now. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll film him. But I was out of places. I didn't have any more skate places to take them. I mean, I was in high school. It's not like I was gonna go on a big road trip. So we just went back to the exact same spots.
That was so competitive if you think about it, you know? And like, I did a couple of the same tricks as he did at his spots, you know?
I probably thought, wow, this is a good angle to get this. Why even vary it up? I wasn't conflicted until Gabriel saw it and was like, this is bullshit. He's just copying my part.
So what happened was, you know, I'm at school. You know, I actually wrote a letter because I was going to send this video to Santa Cruz. You know, because I wanted to skate for Powell, you know? It's so weird. But I didn't, you know, I think I could get on, I don't know. So I gave Santa Cruz a whirl first. I was at school, I wrote the letter. My friend had the video at the shop. I was gonna go to the skate shop and mail the letter and the video to them. You know, it's just so weird that that day, one of Stacy Peralta's secretaries was in the shop that day while they were playing the video in the shop while I'm at school. And, you know, she says, hey, you know what, Stacy likes to watch these videos, you know. Show it to him.
And I'm thinking, shop skaters are rarely good, but I'll check them out.
Well, the rest is history. Got on and pretty immediately I was like, you gotta put these 3 guys on, you know. Trust me, you gotta put them on. So I'll take your word for it, but you know, you have to go skate with them in person.
Well, sure enough, I did check those guys out, and they were really, really good. Unusually good for being a shop team. And what I liked about them is they were all young, they all were street skaters, and they were friends. So I could promote them as a unit, and they were like the next thing. When you have a team of riders, you've got your A-list guys, your B, your C, and you're always trying to shift guys. Where are they moving? And so you're looking at all of them, hoping to get them to A-level.
There was the Bones Brigade, and then there was like Steve Size, Ray Barbie, Chet, and all them that were like kind of like being worked on into the next Bones Brigades, and we were still below them. You know what I mean? So we were always like this like C team, kind of nothing to lose, like ratty little dudes.
First time I saw the LA, we'll call them the LA guys, because that's how I was introduced to them from Stacy. And when I got on the team, Stacy was kind of trying to mold me into taking his job at some point or working into a position, so he wanted me to work with these guys and maybe at some point have them become my team.
You guys are getting in each other's shots, okay? Huh? You guys are getting in each other's shots, so don't do that.
Got it.
Is that it, man? That's just it?
Yeah. It's fully, you can fully see the position coming in.
Was that it? No, seriously.
Do it again. Yeah, no.
Lance Mountain's piece in Bones Brigade Video 1 might be the very first time that the world at large had seen anybody street skating. Tommy Guerrero's piece in Future Primitive is probably the first time that the world at large generally had ever seen a street skateboarder just skateboarding in the street and doing nothing else and not being a vertical skateboarder, okay?
I'm a future primitive, and I skate to live. I am a future primitive, and I skate to live.
As everybody knows, skateboarding was derived from surfing. It was a surfing offshoot. And for many years, skateboarding lived under a surfing umbrella. Street skating is when skateboarding found its own voice. In the mid-'80s, when business really picked up, we were aware that we were selling mostly vertical skateboards. And we knew that about 80 to 90% of the people who rode our boards did not have access to vertical skateboarding. And we knew that if we continued this direction, we could potentially kill the sport. We were really aware that if skateboarding is going to be democratic and if it's going to be open, it's got to, kids that live in inner cities that don't have access to money or ramps, we've got to give them something to do. Otherwise, they're not going to ride skateboards. And we knew that kids weren't going to freestyle. Only the math geniuses were going to do that. So street skating was the thing that really allowed skateboarding to become so democratic. And at that time, we were trying to build street skating to become something very important in skateboarding, because we thought it could be. Everybody suddenly wanted in on street skating. So even the vertical skateboarders on my team wanted in on it, and they started doing it. But these young kids that were getting into street skating, they were doing it fresh. They didn't have to unlearn something else. And that's what Guy and Rudy and Gabriel and Paulo, that's what they represented. They really represented that new voice that was going to be emerging, that in fact, during the 90s became the voice of skateboarding.
Look at this. Pink Motel. Who doesn't know the Pink Motel? And look at that. It's probably from Animal Chin. I don't even know how to open this. That's what it looks like. I mean, how different is this than today, man?
It's the master.
That was
edition.
the master for Animal Chin right here, 1-inch tape. Check it out. I mean, this is all film that we eventually transferred to 3/4, but here's like, you know, Guerrero, San Francisco, shot by John Malvino. Super 8 from the Ray Barbie segment in LA. It says LA Streets. I didn't shoot any Super 8 with Guy and Gabriel and those guys. I just did 16, but I shot a lot of Super 8 with Ray Barbie, and that's what this is right here. Johnny Rad Nightclub master shot. How's that for something crazy?
When was the last time you saw these tapes?
I haven't seen these in years, and before I've only seen them once in like 20-something years, and the other once was years and years ago. Look at this. Mike Vallely, number 2. Number 1. Frankie Hill, final edit. Bucky and Chet on the mini ramp. Wow, jeez, this is crazy. Look at this. What does that say? LA Street Ams. How's that? Wow. And there it is. That's probably the, yeah, look at that, master edit tape. So you got what you were looking for, huh? Yeah. Did you get it, Peter?
What?
Did you get it?
When?
Dang, man. Did you get it, please? Say it.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, that whole thing started really fast. And although we all were part of it, I wanted to skate. And when these guys are skating amazing, it's getting me hyped. I don't feel like being behind a camera, but part of me also knew that I was never gonna be as good as they are, and if I was gonna make any kind of mark or be a part of this, like, filming was gonna be my in.
Whatever I ask you, answer it in a question. Okay, who was the first to get on Powell? No, you're supposed to say, I was the first to get on.
I don't think it was a surprise to anyone when they got on that it was video time. Stacy was really excited about them, and I think he wanted to capture it as soon as possible.
I don't remember like the exact date, but I remember it was really fast. We were on the team, we each got like a couple boxes, and I just knew that we were gonna go film with Stacy.
But in all honesty, I didn't think it was gonna be a whole part. Like I thought we were gonna get like a little, I don't know, you know, not like what it was, especially because the filming was so short.
That's kind of how it was back then. You'd go out for a full day and you'd get a lot of the bones of a piece. From the way people shoot today, it was nothing like it. I never ever did what they do today. I escaped the era of staying there and shooting 100 times to get one thing. I cannot remember how many days we shot their piece. I don't remember, but I'm gonna guess it was probably 3.
The shooting process, it took about maybe, say, 4 to 5 days.
It took like 2 or 3 days, I think.
It was exactly 4 days.
And I think some of the days consisted of certain shots that were just high fives down Hollywood Boulevard and kind of like some standard like plug-in shots that we as skaters didn't consider days of filming, you know what I mean? Which is why I think that like between the group you might get some different numbers, you know? You know, the first day of filming with Stacy is kind of like, it was the first day of school for me, like super nervous, butterflies. Not even about doing the tricks, it's just like the first time filming with someone that you like hold on such a high level.
The first time we did get together with Stacy, it was more like just so hungry to skate. You know, it was like not really nerves, just more or less excited. You know, definitely excited.
First of all, most skateboarders knew nothing about production. They had no idea. They'd never done this before, especially Guy and Rudy and Gabriel. They had never done this before. They'd never been shot like this. Of course, they'd been shot from friends' home video cameras, but never on a little bit of a skate production. So they were just going along with what I was asking.
You know, going into like some of those first shots with Stacy's where things were kind of like directed and like, okay, Guy, you're gonna skate all the way down Hollywood Boulevard, just doing claps and high fives and whatever. I was like, this doesn't matter. Why are we doing this?
So I trusted Stacy because I remember like a couple of words that Stacy told me back then really made me who I am today, you know? He's like, dude, I love what you do. He's like, don't trip, just be an artist and be yourself, you know, just, you know, so I kind of like right away, I became like really good friends with Stacy, so I wouldn't question anything he did, you know? And then Gabriel and those guys, like, I don't know if they actually liked it or not. Yeah, I guess they were ready to just be more raw and real, you know? I had no idea. I was just like, whatever, Stacy, you know, let's just do this.
As a filmmaker, I've got to do what I think's right to glue it all together. A lot of times they didn't understand that type of stuff. The Hollywood Boulevard segment, where they're going down the street, that was me choosing that location because I knew it was very smooth and I wanted to have a sequence where they're all skateboarding down the street together, shuffling tricks and jamming together. There's reaction shots of them hooting at each other. I always shot that stuff because I thought that was very important to show that these guys are having fun doing this. You know, they're doing it together, and that spirit was really important to what we were trying to accomplish. I would just say, you gotta trust me, guys, I know what I'm doing here. That happened all the time. That even happened with Lance and Tommy and Tony and stuff.
I think that we were just so focused on getting tricks, you know? And I remember being a little like, just get us to the rail. You know what I mean? We need to front board this rail.
No, I mean, it was, yeah, Stacy would give us direction at certain points, more of the, like, artsy clips kind of, I guess you can say. You know, like, when we're doing the wall ride against the wall with the kids and stuff like that.
He's all like, no, just do something on the wall and then just skate. Nobody told us ever to just do something like that, you know?
And it's funny now because it does make a big difference in a video and it does show something and it's like, man, that wall has always stuck out to me. Anytime I drive by that wall, I'm like, it was a great location for that, you know what I mean? And I think that he had such a good eye for like locations in Los Angeles and just spots.
But at the time, we didn't get it. He was definitely like planning it out though, the image and everything. We had to wear the same clothes for every shoot, you know, so that was pretty crazy. I didn't really like think about putting my wardrobe together. You know, I probably would have dressed cooler if I knew that was gonna happen. But the first weekend that we were done, my clothes ended up in his car somehow. I called him during the week and I was all like, dude, I left my clothes in your car, you know, like, is it cool if you wash it? And he was all like, yeah, sure, you know. And then sure enough, Saturday comes and then it's in the exact same place in his trunk, like nasty and just sweat rings and everything. And I'm all, fuck, dude, like, you didn't even wash it, dude. When I think about it now, you know, it's like, dude, I can't believe I asked. He probably was all like, what balls is this little fuck, dude? Like, asked me to wash his clothes. So, yeah, the second set of that filming session, I was reeking so bad, man. It was crazy.
Maria.
So an interesting story about that song is that one time we went in to like talk to Stacy and we went into his office in Silver Lake and that song was playing really low or like in another room. And at one point we're like, wait, listen. Like we could hear it and like it was like Johnson. And then like we'd hear mine and we're like, look, that clearly says Mariano. Like, dude, this is probably gonna be the song.
I do not remember exactly why that happened. I remember being in the studio. I was in there with Skate Master Tate and his group, and he had this guy that sampled stuff.
We were recording with Dennis Dragon from the Surf Punks, and I think he just said to start naming some tricks, and there wasn't that many tricks back then, at least not like now, right? So I just kept on saying like ollie, kickflip, whatever, you know, Manuel.
And I was really like, I'm really digging what he's doing, let's play with that. Skate Master Tate started saying their names. The sampler started sampling their names, and we just started goofing. That's all it was. That's how we came up with a lot of stuff, by just doing that, by just like, wow, that's cool, let's keep going this way. Just discovering it on the fly.
Yeah, definitely. Everybody was singing that. Mariano. To this day, it still like rings in my head, you know?
Mariano. Guy would get the worst out of everybody.
Donna, Donna, Mariano, Donna, Donna, Mariano, Donna, Donna. That's the one, dude.
My name was very clear. The others were kind of hard to make out. Like, I really stood out, man. I was like, Mariano. Like, when it came out, man, it was just like, man, that's me. That was a Mariano song, man. Diaz was just in there. Johnson, Rodriguez. You could barely, like, pick that out, man.
You know, I don't know, I figured he was some, you know, little Italian dude or something. So, you know, I just go Mariano, you know, like marinara sauce. I don't know why. I just said it came out, and it just stuck.
And when I think about Stacy and I hear that song that is just so personal to all of us and just one of a kind, at one point I remember being like, this could be like cheesy, all of our names, you know what I mean? And now it's just nothing but special.
The imagery that I had of just a stationary bench sitting there and them riding a bench, just a stationary bench, nothing else, no, you're just doing a trick on a bench, trick on a bench, trick on a bench, is really showed me like all we knew about skateboarding, you can eliminate it down to this simpleness.
The bus bench that those guys are shown riding was across the street from my office in front of a Bank of America. And the guys would come over to my office and hang out, and then they'd go outside and skate. And I remember looking out the door one day and seeing them across the street goofing around. But they were doing really neat stuff. So I got my camera and started shooting it, and it became a session.
Yeah, you know, basically that was a routine. You know, wherever we'd go skate, we'd be taking the bus somewhere and, you know, waiting for the bus, might as well skate.
watching those guys skate bus benches like that was helping inform me on where skateboarding was going. And as I'm watching them do this, I'm thinking to myself, this is everything we're trying to promote in skateboarding right now. That you can have just as much fun as Tony Hawk on his ramp on this little bus bench.
I think that's what's rad about that part too, is like it had sessions in there that like occurred on a daily basis, so you actually got a realistic visual of what skaters were like, not just the best trick. And I think that translates.
Did you get the other one? Was it pretty good? Yeah. Like, was that man in the way? At the time, we were skating together pretty often.
We try to skate every weekend, you know, completely from Friday after school till, you know, Sunday night.
The routine that we did in that video was our weekend routine, was like every time we all got together, we did that routine.
Everything's seriously like right here in about like, man, 3 square miles, most of the part, we're here, you know?
As the guy who's part owner in this company and who's brought these guys onto my team, I want to make these guys look as good as they can. I want to showcase them as good as they can. So I'm always saying, where do we go? Where do you do your best stuff? Let's go there and shoot it.
Yeah, all those spots, you know, basically our training, you know, kind of you can say training grounds. It was kind of one area by Paulo's house.
Yeah, those were all my spots that we skated. It's Los Feliz, East Hollywood, Silver Lake, and we would start at my house and we just hit every single spot. So that's what we did with Stacy.
If we didn't have such a good routine, that part would have suffered, because given the amount of time, it was only 2 weekends. And like, good thing that Stacy lived in Los Feliz. His studio was in Silver Lake. Paulo grew up in Los Feliz. So it was just like, combination of like Stacy having a visual of Los Feliz and knowing how he wants to shoot that, and Paulo knowing the exact locations of where we were gonna do it, made it come together great.
I was simply trying to put them in a visual framework that represented their style. These were street kids. This was a whole new thing.
He identified stuff in our culture in that time area, and like he embodied that all in that part to make this special little part for us that he felt at everything that was surrounding us. So it's something I haven't thought about for a long time, probably didn't register then, but it's like now, it means the world to me.
The graffiti art was actually on the corner of Hollywood and Vermont. Now it's a park called Barnstall. Stacy saw it and he's all like, well, before we go into Los Feliz, which is across the street, let's go shoot up against that wall.
And even if you see us in the beginning, like when we're standing, like even our intros, like we're standing behind some graffiti, like one of them was like Dre, that was Gabriel's friend, and the other one was Sleaze. It was like a SL. You couldn't walk around this city without seeing Sleaze, you know? And to capture those like names in like the background, it's like awesome. It's kind of like the same thing when we're like skating by Renee's. It's not fake. That part is authentic. Those shots had a meaning.
The famous King Middle School. That place was where we would meet up every Saturday morning. I would take the bus down and Gabriel and Guy either spent the night at Paulo's and we'd all meet at that rail.
A lot of those schools, like, you know, that we skate in that video, like Paulo actually like grew up and went to those schools, and one of the schools was King. Paulo actually painted a mural for that school. They loved Paulo. Like, Paulo's a great guy, everyone loves him. It was pretty funny because like he wasn't probably like the best student and probably like destroyed that school for years, but it's like he had this mural in the front of the school. It's just like right where that 10-stair rail was, and it was just awesome.
Yeah, that was a dope spot. There was a 4-step, there was a 5-step, and then there was a 6-step, and then there was a, you know, a 10-step, so you could warm up on each handrail. That's why that spot was so good.
Just the other day, I was like skating in Los Feliz, and we drive by King, and I see Rudy Johnson's son skating by with like his friends, you know, and he's got his group of 5 friends, and I'm like, man, this just trips me out because it reminds me of us. They're going to King to skate. They're going to skate the rail and going to skate inside there, and like, it's the stuff that we used to do, you know what I mean? And to see that passed down to that generation, it's unbelievable.
You know, I always, even when I drive by there, I always have a nostalgic, you know, feeling. It's just incredible to think that, like, now my son just graduated from that same school and skated the same stairs and the same rail, and, you know, and just the history that that place has had.
Yeah, my dad kind of told me that he was like, yo, I did some gnarly shit at that school. And I was like, oh, that's sick.
I bust his balls, like, you know. I'd go in there and be all like, look, dude, like, I kickflip over this rail, or like, we used to like do this on this right here.
My dad never really like pushed me to like, oh, why haven't you done this? Come on, you suck, you should be like me. Like, he's way more chill than that, but.
He learned how to board slide it, and it was like his first real rail that he board slid, and you know, he was excited.
That was the first time I was like, really starting to push myself.
And then I was all like, that's cool, dude, so, you know, what's next? And then I started saying, like, dude, we used to go there and in 40 minutes, name every trick all of us did. And he would be all like, really? I'm all, yeah, dude, step it up, bro.
My dad showed me the part, and he never really told me how gnarly it was. But other people, like a lot of other people, like, dude, that part was freaking crazy. Like, you don't even know how crazy your dad is.
That was the gnarliest thing I had ever seen in my life. I'll never forget it. We drove by and we were like, oh, Rudy was like, oh, I'll do it right now. You know, and then I was like, oh, damn, I'm gonna have to do it too, you know?
We were a tight group of friends, you know what I mean? And we all wanted each other to get our tricks. There was a lot of respect between us as a group, and we didn't want anyone ever to feel left out, singled out. We would always all do the same tricks, and like, we would even ask each other, like, hey man, like, I'm gonna do the board slide now. Okay, cool.
Us four, when we would skate, we would completely just feed off each other, you know, and of course, you know, we're going for broke, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we pumped each other up for that one, big time. We had to, man, that was crazy. The 3 of us were like, oh, okay, I'm coming, you know, we were all like that, and then just wait, you know, to the end and jump off, you know?
What I was thinking about, like, on that big handrail is that this is a group of guys that I've been skating with and know their level, you know what I mean? And now I actually seen them, like, stepping it up on the spot with Stacy, like, taking it to another level. I was blown away, you know what I mean?
We ended up getting kicked out after I did it, so if you see in the video, you could see a bunch of kids and people all around it, you know? And then when the other guys do it, it's nobody's there no more because we went back to it another day, you know?
Back then, we used to, I didn't get nervous, but I would get like, adrenaline, you know? And I haven't felt that for a long time, how the way we used to feel it. And like, especially in a day like that, you know? You're doing like handrails, you're doing like the best skating you ever did, you know? And you're like, every 5 times a day, you were like, I'm gonna die, you know, I'm gonna do this or die, you know? Like, literally skate or die, you know?
You can say I was a little nervous. It was probably the longest one at the time that I did at the time. I was just completely reluctant to do it from the top. I don't know why. I was just completely I don't know what it was. I was just kind of like, and just finally I just did. I was the last guy to do.
We always really wanted to learn tricks, like all of us, you know. When Gabriel would learn something, he would be all like, dude, I learned this trick. He'd help me to learn it. Or, you know, if I learned a trick, it'd be like, dude, you gotta do it. You know, with Guy didn't have as much power back then, so he was like, we would always push him.
Yeah, so good. Fuck. Get it up. I'll try off the stairs there.
You just go back up there.
Given that I was like younger than the rest of the guys, like I've always felt that pressure to keep up. And I think you could see it in some of the footage, like the time they're like skating that bus stop bench, like I'm sitting there like, you know, it's like, what am I gonna do on this thing? Like Gabe's like, you know, kickflip 50 in it, Rudy just kickflip tailed it. I barely got popped to get up on this thing. I didn't get my fire hydrant trick. I didn't do the big rail, you know what I mean? And like, I was still probably questioning myself, insecure, like, oh man, I hope Stacy's not bummed that I didn't get this. I'm just trying to hang with these like LA boys, you know what I mean? Which are definitely more street skater than me. These guys like grew up on the streets and like, you know, you could see it in their style. They're looser, their trucks are looser, they're just like great, you know what I mean? And it's almost like an older brother that's like can always beat you up. Even though you gotten stronger, it's like, I'll still never be able to nollie as high as Paulo.
Guy was a 13-year-old kid. Any kid who's 13 that's great is always going to get a lot of attention. So I knew that he was solid. Paulo had a very unusual style and did things in a very weird way. He was very artistic in his skateboarding.
Paulo was definitely that type of skater from a really young age. He had a very open mind, and I think it's about how you're raised, you know what I mean? And about how you view things, and like, his family was always very artistic, and I think that's what separated him from the bunch, you know? And like, you could see Paulo, he had like a different style, he had dreads. Paulo was a super individualist, and it like translated in everything he did.
Gabriel and Rudy and Guy, they were so freaking good, you know? Those guys like mastered kick flips and stuff like that. I wasn't too much of a flip guy back then. I was like super into making up my own tricks, and I would just even do like weird step hops or just weird bonuses and stuff, and like nobody would do my tricks except Guy. So I want to give Guy credit for that, because he did my tricks, you know, and I was stoked on that.
Paulo always used to do this trick, and it was like that fakey big spin, like 540, boneless, hand burial thing.
Used to call it the chainsaw. It was like a bzzz.
Yeah, so the trick, the chainsaw, that was like his trick, you know? But for some reason, Stacy told Guy, he's all like, you know, do it, Guy. I remember just skating down by and I just see them do it in doubles.
In part of our flat ground session, you know, it became a synchronized thing where me and Paulo were doing them together, and like, that's a trick I still do nowadays every now and then. It's just like, it's very nostalgic to me. It's like, that's the Paulo move, the chainsaw.
A lot of my tricks was vert. I would watch vert skating, and then, you know, and I wanted to do vert tricks on the street or on a bank, you know? I remember back then, like, I saw Tony Hawk. I was doing his tricks, you know, but on the street course, you know? And I wanted him to see me do that. He was like my favorite skater because of his vert tricks. I used to ride only Tony Hawk boards, you know? Because that was like the biggest board with noses where I could grab, do triple. Oh, it's so funny, but yeah, I wanted Tony Hawk to know that.
In those days, we had the street skate by default. You know, we were all raised as pool skaters and vert skaters, and it was like, all right, this is the street, and this is what we're doing. And they would like throw me, you know, Stacy would put me up with Steve Size and Chet Thomas and be like, all right, go. And it was like, okay, you know, I enjoyed it, but I knew that I wasn't really shining in that sense. I was very self-conscious about my street skating. And I think that the best validation I ever received was the first time I met those guys was at one of the premieres, and they came up to me and then, man, you board slid that Wilshire rail, that was sick. And I was like, oh, thanks. I got a high five from those dudes for sliding a rail in LA, in Band This. To have validation from Guy, Paolo, Rudy, and Gabriel was a big thing for me.
I didn't get it.
Huh?
I didn't get that.
I'm gonna suck you.
No, dude, you gotta wait for the camera to start.
Gabriel has what was like one of the first pressure flips. I don't even know what it was, but he was trying, everybody was trying tray flips, and he just had this weird move, and it didn't even hit the tail. It was kind of a shove it that he scooped.
I called it the possible, as opposed to the impossible. It was a weird trick. It looks like a 360 flip, but it wraps around my back foot.
I think when Gabe did that possible in Van Ness, people thought it was a 360 flip. You know, that's always been a thing in skateboarding. If you're too far ahead of your time, sometimes it backfires, you know what I mean? People just aren't ready for it. It doesn't register, and like, it doesn't really get credit.
If you slow-mo that, you'll see that it's wrapping around my back foot. But it looks just like it does exactly what a 360 kickflip does, except I don't hit my tail. I did it down the 2 steps at the bank, and I had it down more than the 360 kickflip. And regardless, people think it's a 360 kickflip. So I would do that one because I had it every time like that, boom.
One of the things that stood out, and also I think in the park, I think Rudy stands out as one of the best skaters there. There was a switch that flipped, and he just started to rip new tricks and just flip tricks like crazy. Anything that he could do, he was flipping into.
I remember during the shooting of it, they had learned these new tricks over this little cinder block wall off of Hollywood Boulevard where there was a parking lot.
For myself, like, I could tell you one trick in particular that, like, I had learned the no comply flip, you know, on a parking block. And then when we got to that spot, I mean, everybody was sessioning and like doing their crazy Paul Ollie, like the high wall, and I was all like, I looked at that thing and I was all like, dude, I'm gonna do it today over that thing, you know? And I kept trying it and tried it until I did it, you know? I had never done it at that spot. And yeah, I was surprised on that one. I was pretty stoked.
That's a dud. I did that one last night.
Ooh. I called you a big dud. Yeah.
My experience meeting the 4 skaters that Stacy kind of found, you know, Rudy and his crew. I'll just put Rudy's name up there first. Basically, I worked with Stacy on Public Domain.
Chuck Treece was a friend of mine, and he was a skateboarder that I thought was very good. And he was an emerging musician, and he really believed in skateboarding. If I'm not mistaken, we produced a large number of his songs. In exchange for us paying for the production, we got the rights to use them. So I had all these Chuck Treece songs to put wherever I wanted in the videos. And you know, Chuck Treece's music is really good, and it was really good to underscore a lot of those segments.
We were really admirers of like the Chuck Treece song with Ray, Size, you know, Sanderson and Thomas. That was an iconic song that just was energy, man.
My first initial reaction was going to the Public Domain premiere in LA and sitting there and, you know, watching the footage, and then all of a sudden my song comes on. He didn't tell me that he put Weakness in there, so he put Weakness in there for Ray Barbie's section, which is kind of the first start of like the real, like, core tech street skating.
Stacy's fingers were on the pulse of what was happening in the streets, street skating or whatever, right? And so when Public Domain came out and then it got the response that it got, I think right there he knew, like, this is the direction. And I just feel like it opened it up for him because now he's in the streets, having to follow us through parking lots and downstairs. He developed how to present that, and it kind of started creating his approach and formula. And then so when he had got to it again with the next video with those guys, he kind of embellishes and expands a little more on the idea he had before. The difference between the Rubber Boys part and theirs is that, yeah, I mean, I was cool with Steve, Eric, and Chet, but I wasn't skating with those dudes every day, developing and figuring out my deal. What was special about those guys is you could tell that these dudes were friends. These dudes were brothers. That was a really neat, genuine crew.
Then the next time we work on songs, Stacy's like, you gotta check out this footage of these young kids. I met these 4 kids out in LA. They're like, no one they're skating on pro level already. You know what I mean? And he showed me the footage. As soon as I saw that, I was like, you know, these kids are like bionic.
You know, I met Chuck a couple times at the office, and he was a real nice guy. You know, he's like, we're doing a song. We're gonna do your song. I was like, hell yeah, that's cool, cool, Chuck, definitely. Psyched on that.
I remember hearing the song from him and we were like so stoked because like that was our little piece of like public domain that we loved so much, you know what I mean? Carried out into ours, you know?
And when the part breaks into that, it kind of picks up, you know? Everything, like the editing, everything, and it's just a song. I was really happy, really happy.
When I first saw the footage of those guys skating, I was kind of really into like the whole approach. Those guys were taking freestyle skating and, you know, regular skateboarding and putting it like right on the street. So I wanted to be able to say, well, how can I relate to that in a punk rock sense? I just wanted to write, well, what do guys think about outside of the skateboarding? The lyrics was I watch her go, and it was more or less about love, passion, girlfriends, and this and that. So I wanted to add that into my story and not just be like, we're different, we hate you, because I'm looking at these kids that are more eclectic. It's not just like metal, bang your head. It's more or less all based off a groove. I mean, those guys are so intense. I mean, Ray still rips and is such an influence. And, you know, Guy and Rudy, you know, Gabe, all those guys, they're just so out of the box, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm happy that I was like kind of showcased with them. And thanks to, you know, Gabriel and all those dudes for even thinking that my music could even highlight their skating, period. You know what I mean? That's insane.
You know what? It's funny that, like, at the time, we didn't think of it as an ender, you know? I don't think enders really existed in videos back then. It was just like, oh, the part's over. Now that I think about it, I mean, yeah, I was pretty hyped, man. I got an ender right there. You know, I'd never done it off stairs, but the energy was like, dude, like, you know, you gotta do something crazy. Like, this is it. And I remember that being the last day of filming. And we ended it at Los Feliz. And it was like, this is it, you know? It's all or nothing right here, you know?
You know what? It was one of those days that it felt good to be part of LA, man. Like, those dudes are already like the top dudes in LA that we knew, and this is the day that they blow up.
You know, we grew up skating in the same central LA area. Gabriel was from Mid-City. You know, we were from Echo Park. Rudy was also from Mid-City, although later he ended up moving to Walnut. And Guy was from Burbank, but we would always run into each other. And then, of course, Paulo, he was Los Feliz.
We skated with them a long time ago. They were known as the LA boys, and we were like the Woosher boys, but like, there were stories about these guys before I even met them.
Paulo was like the urban legend. You would just hear things.
So whenever we would hear about who did what and who did this, it was always Paulo Diaz, Paulo Diaz, Paulo Diaz. I thought he was like the Chupacabra or something, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like a big legend.
All these people in Los Feliz, like, we're all so proud of, like, Paulo because, like, we all grew up idolizing this guy like a king, you know what I mean? And when that day, when, like, Stacy Peralta is gonna come film Paulo Diaz at Los, like, everybody's showing up for this.
Just like any other regular session at Los Feliz, we happened to go. Like, it wasn't anything that we knew was gonna happen. We were just there to skate. And then it just so happens that they were filming.
At that point, I was skating with Paulo a lot. Paulo gave me a heads up and a couple other guys. He said, hey guys, you know, Stacy's gonna shoot us in a new skateboard video. And he told us the locations they were gonna be at. And so I was prepared that day. I brought my camera. And basically, I was taking pictures of Paulo. The majority was Paulo. I did get a couple of the other guys. But, you know, I actually got a piece of history there. That one day in time kind of gave me my own little celebrity status, and that was amazing. Just because I was affiliated with that bandless video, all the guys wanted to skate with me, you know, around the neighborhood. They were like, hey, OG, you know, he knows the LA boys.
If you look in that segment, there's a lot of reaction shots of kids in that playground because I wanted to give it the flavor of what they were seeing and what they were feeling. I didn't want skateboarding to come off as some solo thing. Everyone's involved here, and it's fun, and it's active, and it's engaging. It was really important.
I didn't know that they were filming sidelines, you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just there fanning out, you know? I'm watching the stuff go down, you know, trying not to be in the way. All those random faces were just like neighborhood kids. I think they were all just as surprised when they saw the vid too, you know? Like, oh, like I'm in a video, you know?
So yeah, the little cameos of Billy Valdez. He was Paulo's friend. They had gone to school together.
Billy was like this with Paulo, you know? Go skate with him, we'll skate with Billy.
Stacy probably seen something in Billy that day, was like, this kid's probably gonna make it. I'm gonna give him a face shot.
That's kind of, I think, what made Billy even get on Paulo, I think, you know, after that. Because his face was in there, you know?
And something that you would think that was like just placed in there, oh, random skater. It's like, no, Stacy was like dropping little like subliminal like things, like these are the people you're gonna see in the industry.
Osmosis, man, you know? Sponsored by Osmosis, you know? That's why I say it's like always like, you know, like kind of like right place, right time.
That's what a good director, I guess, does, man. They notice these little things and like they splice it in there.
You can see a lot of stuff went down that day, and for what they did in that moment in time, it was cutting edge. You know, they really stepped it up. It was pretty remarkable and impressive to observe that and be a part of the background, you know, and seeing like my friends, you know, coming up. So for me, it was educational because it made me realize and say, okay, you know, in order for us to go to that next level, this is who we're gonna have to compare ourselves to.
You gotta kick it with winners if you wanna be a winner, bro. You can't hang out with losers and expect to be a winner. They were fucking beyond winners in my eyes. Like, they were just like hood heroes, you know? They were known as LA. That was it. They were LA. So it gave me and my little crew and my circle a sense of like, hey, why can't we be next? These guys are our friends, man. If they could do it and they're from the neighborhood right here, why can't we do it?
I think it inspired a lot of kids that were skating all over the city. The reason why I say that is because there was already a bunch of little crews that a lot of dudes were good already, you know? Crews from Glendale, there was like the crew from Eagle Rock, there was the Wilshire kids, and then there was like the kids around like Pico Union. We just happened to get lucky. Like seriously, Stacy could have probably picked some other crew and it could have happened for those guys too, you know? It just happened that it landed on our crew. But I think when those guys, they saw the video and they were just like stoked too, you know? They got represented as well. I guess skating changed for me in the sense where, well, I don't know where we were like kind of known, you know? And that was pretty cool at like 15. People kept telling us it was their favorite video part and like that was the best part in the video. And then we were just, you know, kids and it could go to your head, you know?
After coming in that video, it's like I remember going to school and like, you know, skaters like tripping out. There was even a kid, he wanted to like have a skate off with me after the video because, you know, he always said he was better than me, and like I never really took it serious, but like after the video, he like, you know, 3 o'clock, he wanted to have a skate off down this like set of stairs with me. And I remember I was so nervous. It was like, God, I had to go home and get my board. I come back and there was a crowd, man. This kid's up there. And it was something out of like a Wonder Years movie. I just remember like, I think I started off with like a kick flip, worked our way into a couple lean 180s, and I think I ended him with the 360 nose grab. And, you know, I won. When I was young, I had my school friends, and then I had my skate friends. So it was something to prove to those school friends.
Video parts aren't about capturing everything this guy technically can do as much as presenting a emotional feeling and attachment to people. I think the strength that Stacy has always done, and this was putting them as a group, I think that gave them that voice. Together they were a movement. It made them very strong and something to latch onto and something for kids to associate or be, that's what I'm about, or that's what I feel skateboarding's about, and that's what made them great, besides their raw ability.
I think Stacy, in that small amount of time that we got together, like he gave us a great Powell experience of like everything that he had to offer. And whether that be musically, and like artistically, cinematically, in every which way, like he delivered. It was a very, genuine, innocent time that he captured. On his behalf, like thank you very much for like, you know, showing the world like what our childhood was like, you know what I mean? And what it was really like to like be involved with that group in that city, in that time, at that moment. Skateboarding did change crazy right after that video, you know what I mean? It came really trick-based, it came really individualized. It was actually the end of like portraying a group of friends coming up together. I think it's very special, you know what I mean? I think it's a part of history.
The more that time goes by, the more I realize that it's beautiful, you know? There was nothing like it. Never again have I ever experienced a video part like that. You still watch it to this day and you want to skate. I am just so happy that I was one of the 4 guys, you know?
Yeah, when I look back, you know, I smile because it's a pivotal point in my life. And when I look back at it, you know, orgullo, proud, you know? Proud of it, yeah, definitely.
And the end of it all, shit, it was like a great experience, you know, and like, I owe it to that part, you know, pretty much my whole life, you know what I mean? It was like, that really like made us, you know, truly, you know, so it was cool. Cool fucking ride, yeah.
I did not know those 4 skateboarders until I physically was introduced to them. Look at these guys, and I looked at them and went, wow, they're good. But otherwise I wouldn't have seen them. And I should have known they existed. I was shooting all over the place. That's the weird thing about LA. And I may never have seen them had it not been for my assistant going to Renee's shop and seeing them for herself and encouraging me to see them. That's a big deal.
The double chainsaw?
Whoa! Yeah! No. Did I just crack your board? We'll get you another one. I didn't crack it, did I?
It's already kind of like...
Oh, shit, damn! Oh, God. Crazy.
Cheated, you cheated.
Chainsaw Massacre. Yeah. Whoa. What was that?
I don't know, dude.
Nice. Nice. One thing I could say about skateboarding with Paulo, like it never got boring, you know what I mean? Because like it was always something special and new. Thank you for always keeping it exciting. Seriously.
Yeah, there you go.
I might double it,
dude. You got it, dude. Can't wait to see this go
We're
down.
gonna be here all day.
Oh, you gotta do it, guy.
Hey, so let's talk about this. So like in the process of filming this video, this trick would have been too long.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
exactly.
we
We're done. Yeah,
we
it's
didn't
true.
spend this much time at a spot. Like Stacy was fast. We had to get
It's
it in
true.
really quick. This would have already been way, way too long.
Yeah! He got my
Yeah! Dude, I never thought I'd see this.
Look at just like back in the day, right here. Look at this. 40 years old.
Hey,
It
you
never
don't,
ends.
you don't remember us?
Yes, but this is a private property.
From 1989, you remember us?
You can't be here.
Hello.
Hello?
Gabe, where you at?
I'm at home right now.
What's up?
I'm at home.
Aren't you gonna come down?
Are you guys skating?
Yeah, we're like just cruising around.
Somebody wants to pick somebody up, that'd be cool, you know?
All right. We'll see. Take a shower. I'll call you back.
All right.
All right, later. Just got up. Here we were thinking he's like gonna pull up any second.
Oh my God, fuck.
Yeah! Yeah! Hey, let's do that one more time closer together.
Okay.
This is stupid, it's not gonna go in, but I'll just say it. But these stairs were actually pushed back, like to that line over there, that black asphalt line. And like, it was always kind of a little bump to it, is why like I liked it. It would give you like a little kick, you know what I mean? Make you blast tricks off the stairs. And so you can see where Paulo bonelessed off the side, it was actually back there. And,
It's still there. You can still see the.
you can still see the dent, look at it.
You can still see the
It's
dents.
still there, man, where you kicked it in. I remember the feeling of when I first came in here with you guys, you know, and seeing like, I had never seen a school like this. It had a hip, it had stairs, like it had trash
had
cans
the
and
bump right
benches.
here over
They
the
had-
fucking
they had-
table, dude.
Gabe had like those two benches going down like a hubba handrail, you know what I mean? Like, and a
Oh
bump.
yeah, we set up the bench right
And
there
then there would
too.
be like the bump, just a flat right here where everyone would just do tricks.
It was the best, dude. You would have your lines. You just fucking cruise all day long. Hit the bank, boom, the stairs, dude. And then the bump right here. It was freedom, dude. That was freedom right there.
Yeah. I was actually hyped.
Oh! Yeah, damn! Damn! Good to see you, bro. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Damn. It's on. It's on.
He's here! The fourth member. Son unlocking new spots. Los Feliz Elementary, 2015. Gap to Manny. Gap to Forster. It was funny because when I look at that video too and I see the look that I was dressed up, like Levi's folded pants, long sleeve shirt with whatever, it's like I got that from Gabe. I was just inspired by Gabe, everything that he did, because he was on such another level as a skateboarder, you know what I mean? There was like things when Gabe used to like, he'd be at a rail and he would always go like, you know, right before he tried to trick. That was his thing, you know what I mean?
Pray.
And
I
like,
used to just pray not to get hurt, mind you, not to land it. Just don't let me get hurt.
and then like, sure enough, dude, I would just be like in Burbank at my local spot, Gabe's out there with my shirt, you know, under thing, like whatever. And it's just like, that's how it was, man. That was like huge inspiration for me. And I wanted to copy everything, man. I remember he would like put all this aqua net in his hair when he would do his hair in the morning. Yeah, Gabe's hair, like if you ever seen any of those clips, like that hair never moved. I don't care if he was doing a 360 ollie, whatever, like it was perfect. That's funny.
Yeah!
Seriously, if you really want to think about it, the last time we were all skating together was probably like...
Oh my God, yeah, at least like chocolate, definitely chocolate days.
You've skated with him at Girl, like I've skated with Paulo at the Barracks separately, but all four together, it's way back. What year was Chocolate
the four of
video?
us?
What year was Chocolate, Los fucking Paco?
96 or something?
95. 95, so 95 was that 10 years?
20 years. 20 plus.
I sometimes get it mixed up. I still tell people sometimes I've been skating for 20 years.
You're lying to them, dude.
This is dedicated to someone that looked out for us in the Bones Brigade, a true inspiration in our life. All of us took us under his wing. We love him forever. Lance, this one's for you.
You did the chainsaw? What the fuck? Damn!
At so many different stages in skateboarding, the school is such a main fixture for us. You know what I mean? For me, it's
Like, it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have this. If we didn't have Los Feliz.
Yeah.
It would not have happened. For sure.
Well, honestly, too, like to think about it is like most of our video parts started off from Band This, and we were like inside this school, and wherever we went through skateboarding, at any highlights in our life, it was all surrounded around these same schools. And I think it's like where we've all done our best work and felt our most comfortable around like a little bit of stairs and recycled benches and banks, you know what I mean? And I think
home sweet home.
Home sweet home.
Yeah, that's like my whole career was a bench. If it wasn't for that bench, I would have never skated. That's crazy. If it wasn't for the school, like, I wasn't even thinking of skating today. I was like, oh, I don't want to go skate. As soon as I see you guys in your school, it's like, can't stop skating.
It's that dynamic, you know? It's like a great dynamic, you know, that teams and friends, you know,